Alright, base heads. I finally got these BrandX voltage regulators put in, man. It's like 1 something in the morning. I've been on this car technically since like 11:30 this morning. Alright, and I had to change everything and rearrange everything and do some modifying, like mounting those things on I had to put a piece of wood up under them because I couldn't just mount them where the blue fins were the transpose, because they wouldn't fit right. So I had to mount something flat to put them on something flat, okay? And it seems as though every time I go to start working on my car, everybody's calling me and texting me. And I tell people, call me when I'm working on my car. Call me instead of just texting so I can hear the phone ring. Call, man. Don't just text, and when you can't find me, people get butthurt when they can't find me. They actually get butthurt. Man, you're not answering the phone. Well, I'm busy, dude. I'm on my off days. I'm down here messing with the car and doing modifications, or I just may be busy. So I might have to talk to you the next day or something like that, man. But I'll get back to you, unlike other people. You know what I mean? But I'm down here. I don't got the cases on them, y'all. I was just running them, setting the voltage, and I'm going to mention this. I have them on LTO instead of C-Max, and I'm going to tell you why I have them on there instead of C-Max. I had them on C-Max at first, and I noticed that when on fire up, it starts out like 15.93 or something like that is what the voltage automatically starts out at when it turned all the way down. Which I do like that it does that, and then from there you can start turning it up into the 16s. Well, I usually would ride around with my car in the 16s. But the reason why I'm not riding around with it in the 16s is because those Stetsons, I think I tried to explain this to you. Those Stetson Bravo base flex impedance AKs, they like 15.5, like around 15.5. Because when I was competing with them, like at 16 volts, let me shut this. When I was competing with them at 16 volts last season, and I did a burp, a few of them would go into protect. A couple of them, it went bad. A couple of them would actually blown up in the lanes. And I didn't understand why they was blowing up now. One or two things could have been the reason. Okay, one or two things could have been the reason. One of the reasons could have been like maybe unloaded a sub when I burped and it caused it, because it didn't always cause it on the same side. I know that at World Finals, a sub unloaded at World Finals and Parking Pound. I did give it the beans too much. I did turn it up too much. I did. I tried to end my session with a 138, and it started out in the 138s. But then I unloaded a sub, and then it went, that ended out, and I ended up at a 137.7 in Parking Pound. Okay? But at the beginning of the season, when I tested these with the Resilient Sounds Platinum V212s in it, at first, amp number 9, which was over on this side at the time, that it blew. And that was, over on the driver's side, because I had a driver's side port at the time. Okay, and then I had burned up another one in competition too. But I had the, on the opposite side. I think it was down below. And then, once again, no, I actually heard an amp twice. Okay, the third time I thought I heard an amp. It wasn't the amp, actually. It was a sub acting up on the passenger side. Okay, so to make a long story short, I got told by Resilient Sounds that, when they talk to the amp repair guy that they send the Stetsons and stuff to, that he mentioned that, or Stetson themselves had mentioned that, well, technically, the amp's like 15.5. Anything high like that because of some chip that they put in these Bravos, base flex impedance 8Ks. Okay? Damn, my throat's dry. So, when I had them, those BrandX regulators, I had them on C-Max because that is a C-Max. And it starts out at 15.9. And I love that. I mean, I love the way these was designed, how they turned all the way down there at 15.9. And technically driving around street beating, I wouldn't hurt them driving around street beating at 15.9 at all. But then when I get to a contest, I would have to then take the case off of them and then put them on LTO, because LTO, as I was watching the video with Big Jeray 20 was talking about how with the different settings on here, they start out, at LTO, it starts out in the low 15s and goes up to about 15.8 or something like that. I've been driving around with it at 15.5, so I would love to drive around, put it on C-Max and drive it around in the 16s. I love that, man, and I can. Because I was sitting there playing with it, and I was going up to 16.5 and all that. I wish I could, them amplifiers could take that, because them Bravo Best Flex Impedance 8K say they're 17 volt capable. And that's what I'm disappointed about. They're not 17 volt capable. Y'all heard what I said at the beginning of this video. I wish they were. That's the reason why I went with the small amplifiers for the doors, because of that. I can run them at 16 and not technically hurt them, but if I go into competition with them in the 16s and I go hard on them, something's going to happen. Which is, this is kind of, and I had a talk with a few people of why any company would say their amps can be ran at a certain voltage, but they really can't. And I really do like those amps, because the last competition at 15.5 volts, I got damn near 10K out of them. I told you I got 9,700 out of them. Imagine what I get out of them at 16.5 or something like that. Them things would probably hit 11,000 watts or something, man, like that. And I would drive around happy. Like my C-Max would stay more stable if I drove around with them into 16s. And But nevertheless, I got them on LTO. So any of y'all using these, if I'm using the C-Max and I put it on one of the lower voltage things, like I got it plugs, what would hurt the regulators? That's all. Is it cool for me to run them because those amps want to see 15.5? So that's what I'm running it at. I had the voltage on 15.5, 15.56 or something like that. They're running at. So that's where I'm going to leave them for now, and I'm going to put the cases on them. I'm not going to leave them like this. But the lights are on. They come on. I rewired everything. I had to move the 12 volt relays. I was going to go back to which I was showing you, these 80 amp Super Duties. I was going to go back to these, but there was limited room because these regulators are big. And you see how I have them mounted. Everything's neat. So I'm going to put the case on them, and I have them set. And I'm pretty satisfied with them. They're doing all right. And about the alternators getting hot. Now everything is pretty much equal, because now this alternator gets hot and this alternator gets hot, but it doesn't get hot immediately. It takes a while when it's running. And I also changed those charge studs too. I changed them from what I had to something that I think is more stable than what I had came up with. I think I showed y'all these. I got them right here. I might give them to somebody. They are made of aluminum. I made these a couple years ago and had these on here now. Maybe the voltage wasn't getting through them equally or something like that. So I went to these here. I actually bought those. And they're thicker. They got like a lot more meat on them. And then what I did is the last time, once I put those on, before I got the regulators on, I put those on and ran them. And remember I was saying how that was getting hot? After I put those on, this one over on the end, alternator number 1 was getting real hot, and the rest of them was cool. But I had a whole lot of wires actually running off of this alternator, as you see. Like, so what I did is I made another, like a battery delete charge, bus bar over here, like I have over there, but this one over here is like super thick. This one, I doubled it up and I put it over here, put a piece of wood there so I wouldn't ground it out, and came up with a way to mount it there without it touching any metal. You see what I did with a piece of wood? And all this, that, and the other. I did it like that so I wouldn't run all the wires from every accessory to the alternators. You know what I mean? So this one's not getting hot at all. It's this one and this one, and I can't say maybe it is getting hotter because there's more tension on each one of these the same way. Yeah, there's tension on each one of them the same way, so they may be getting a little hotter because of it, but it's not extremely crazy hot like it was. And I may not, I mean, these fans, man, like I may get rid of these fans because the ones on the ends don't get hot. That's where they're pointing. So I might have to get some other fans where I can put right in front of each one of them and make some type of bracket to come up and get some different fans, because I really don't feel I need these anymore. And I'm getting ready to go to a electric power steering pump that them drifter guys be using. And me and my mechanic I go to, I was looking at them a couple years ago, like getting rid of this power steering pump and getting an electric one and mounting it somewhere else. You know what I mean? And from what I was told, they work pretty good. I mean, some of y'all might have used those electric power steering pumps, but I'm really considering getting one and mounting it away from everything. Like maybe down in here. I don't know how big them contain. I mean, what container? I don't know how big they are, but me and him can figure out a way to find out where to mount them. Okay. So, you know. And that's that. And I had to put another radiator in there, y'all. I didn't mention that. My radiator, the other one was leaking a few days ago, leaking all over the floor from the fins in there. And I had the one that I used to have in there, this Griffin, up in the attic. And it's not as big as the other one, man, but I still got my 412-inch fans on them going in diagonal like the one the radiator guy told me. To set them like boom, boom. And I got 2 pushers and 2 pullers. So I got the front ones going like that and the back ones going like that, like in the necks. Like, they said it gets better airflow that way and it covers the whole. Okay, that's the way I got it now. And it seems to be cool. And it's an aluminum one too. So, but it's not as long as the other one came to about way over here. And I wasn't trying to buy one. These things are expensive, bro. I wasn't trying to just buy another one. You know what I mean? So, it's never ending. But like I say, I got a bus bar over here now. A smaller one. So now, I can spread out all the wiring equally. And I ain't got no wire on the one that's getting hot and the one that's getting hot over there. But I know this one was getting hot after I put on these studs, and I think maybe because it was trying to charge up too much off the alternator itself. So it's more uniform over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on these cases. But these are some nice regulators, man. They got everything regulated pretty good. And like I said, I can say maybe because of the belt wrap, I made a couple of these alternators maybe working harder. This time I can understand and see that might be the issue. They're working harder than the 2 on the ends. The 2 in the middle are working harder. And there's another wrap I can do. Like I said, I can pull those back down. Pull those middle ones back down where it's an even V. Which I can do that, and I may do that But without that power steering pump, it's going to be less of a pulley, and then there's going to be a straight line with that belt down there. So we may come up with something like make a bracket for another pulley so it can tighten by going like this, like going around like that. You know what I mean? We'll come up with something, and that'll be less of a problem without that power steering pump there with a like I said, an electric one. And I hope them electric ones work good. I hope they do. So I'm gonna go ahead and try it. That's what I'm gonna do. Just letting y'all know. I'm gonna try this electric pump. I had an electric water pump on there a couple of times, and it worked great. It's just that without that extra rack, I got belt screech in the morning, and the belt screech wouldn't stop, man. So it was acting as if it wanted another pulley for extra wrap is what it was acting like. It's never ending, bro. I mean, this car came with a V belt system, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm making sure these is tight because there's quite a bit of wire I got rid of with it running all them regulators. Now it's a little more neater, sort of. But anyway, and you know, I've been all day on this. I started like at 11:30 in the morning, and I be thinking this stuff is going to take like just an hour, and it ended up taking, it's 1 something in the morning, bro. It's 1 something in the morning. So I'm going to post this. That's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to put the cases back on there, and sometime within a few days, I'll do another video with the cases on, but y'all know what the cases look like. But I'm just going to screw them on because everything's pretty cool. But just remember what I said in there and give me y'all feedback on this, okay? All right, it's your boy, the OG Soda Pop Kid. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and peace once again.